So let's think about designing an effective online business model. Well, we want to think about competitive options for our industry. First of all, there's fully separate, or in other words, we're not going to fight like two warring brothers or two factions. We want to have, let's say, we may want to have a physical operation and an online operation that aren't trying to kill each other. So does that mean they can work together, or does that mean they have to be separate? Should we integrate them, keep them apart? What level of hybrid are we going to have in between there? Sometimes we have a legacy system. Think of something like Coca-Cola and their bottler distributorship. That's a legacy system that's very hard to change. And so we want to think about our organization and our people, and are we capable of doing more than one model effectively, or are they essentially competitors using up our own resources? And we want to consider our competitors, the ones that are like us, not exactly like us, but similar to us. Where can we copy or steal smart? Where do we have design targets? Who are we trying to beat or imitate? And especially those in parallel industries. Think trucks versus automotive. Think restaurants versus movies or other retail. Where can we steal smart? And we want to think about being in a situation where there is no matching cost structure, there is no matching design, and we have a different risk or reward. If we're going to approach this online thing, let's think about that cost structure so that we build in a genuine advantage by having lower costs and not carrying forward all of our legacy costs. So, financial planning differences between online and off. Well, first of all, the cost structures are different. Retail is relatively high visibility, high traffic, high rent. Online, low visibility, low traffic, low rent. So our physical plant is a different kind of a structure. Dealing with people and having displays versus the pick, pack, and ship and the boxes and bubble wrap and so forth. One thing that really sets online apart, though, and I think a lot of people don't expect this when they come into it, is if you look at the way marketing and advertising was done, and I mean for the last 110 years where we've had roughly modern marketing, in order to do advertising and marketing, you wrote checks. You wrote a check to put something in a magazine. You wrote a check to put something in a newspaper. And so forth. And now the money is spent on people managing our Facebook account. It's responding to inquiries. It's talking to people online in a different way. And it takes a lot more time. So the checks aren't going out for things. We're not paying to have our ads placed. We're paying to do the work to create the content and information that we're uniquely capable of creating. So it's about technology, it's about communication and people, it's not so much about physical things. We don't have that same cost per reach. It doesn't cost the same to put things in front of eyeballs or ears, but we still want to consider how much we pay to acquire or convert. We look at fulfillment, which is taking the order, doing the pick, pack, and ship and sending it out in an entirely different way than people coming into a store. And we also want to think about the difference in paid advertising, pay-per-click, versus organic, by which I mean we created a beautiful flower and the bees came to us for that reason. So with organic, we don't have an assigned cost, but the cost was the people and the time and the thought and the creativity. And we also have a challenge with where did people come from, because where did they hear about us today? Was it 10 years ago? Was it 5 years ago? How do we know how we're spending our money? It's a real challenge online, particularly when coming back multiple times. So there are some benefits, there are some pitfalls in being online. We can have a lower cost to sellers because we don't have to maintain the retail environment. We don't have to have resources essentially sitting and waiting for them to the same degree. And as I mentioned earlier, price is everything the buyer gives up. I'm going to say that again. Price is everything the buyer gives up. That includes thinking about it, looking for it, driving to the store to get it, walking through the store, going to the back of the store. If you've ever tried to buy ice cream in July at a Walmart, you know what I mean, because you have to get it from the back of the store. And if there's any kind of a line, it's going to melt before you get it to your car, and then it's going to try to melt in your car. So ice cream at Walmart on a hot day in July is simply too expensive. You can't buy it. That's an example of all the cost to buyers. So it's easier to find things and compare as a buyer. So we want to make it easier to be found and be competitive online. So we want to build in those lower costs. We want to make it easy for buyers. And in a way, we want to make it their default choice. Or in other words, we don't want them to think, what a great idea. I want to buy from you each time. We want them to just buy from you and not go through the cost, not pay the price of thinking about buying from you. That's ideal. Make the alternatives unnecessary work. So we want to think about the cost structures that are out there, including the price that consumers pay, how we're going to do the customer service, and how we win head on in a competitive market, or should we choose a niche where we are unique? Now, one thing I've spent a lot of time on in my career, and it's a fun one, and it's the strengths and weaknesses of free, because free always gets attention. Free something, free shipping tend to be strong offers, but they have their problems. So yeah, free tends to generate traffic. People will show up, people will look. It tends not to drive repeat loyalty. And I've seen in multiple cases where it destroys a lifetime value. So people come in on a free offer and they don't come back and spend like regular customers. So we want to use it in the right place. We want to encourage a higher average order, maybe free shipping above a certain amount. We want to give a free thing. I'd rather give you a free thing for $1 that cost me 50 cents than give you $1 off. I'm 50 cents ahead. We may just want to say thank you. And one of the things I want to mention too about free offers is an effective free offer should raise the average order. In other words, they get something free and they say, wow, I'm going to buy more stuff. I got a good deal. So if you normally get 50 bucks and you give them something for $5, well, I want them to spend $51 in addition to getting their free $5 thing at least before I say that's a really successful offer. We may want free trials if it generates repeat business, but we don't want to look at just short-term traffic or just how many people tried it. We also want to use that free to get people to cross-sell and upsell. We want the biggest share of wallet. We want people to buy everything from us. If we're selling hardware and we sell paint, we want them to buy their drop cloth and their brushes and their stir sticks and everything else from us. We don't want them to shop in multiple places if we can encourage them to do everything with us. So we want to use free effectively online, and we want to measure free in terms of its repeat business and its lifetime value.